Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday. I'm happy to be back with this podcast. I'm used to saying I'm in the studio with, and I'm in the studio alone today. So it's just me doing the podcast today. I don't have Roger in here with me or any other guests. So it's just going to be me going through the topic of how to survive a party. Or just any special event that's coming up. This is something that I deal with clients on a regular basis. So just kind of giving you some ideas on how you can accomplish working your way through a special event or a party or Super Bowl party or a holiday or something very specific, that's coming up that's got you concerned. My plan is to try to get you prepared and ready to make the right decisions, to know what to eat before you arrive and to know what to bring with you. But also we're going to talk a little bit about self-discipline so that we don't use a party as an actual excuse, because ultimately it's really not an official excuse. For those of you that don't know, this podcast is sponsored by O'Fallon Nutrition, O'FallonNutrition.com. They're located here in O'Fallon, really close to Highway K. It's just right at the corner of Highway K and Mexico Road. O'Fallon Nutrition is kind of my go-to place where I'll meet with a client for the first time and send them with a list of things that they need to go to O'Fallon Nutrition for. You can pick up grass-fed beef, salad dressing, deodorant, makeup, collagen protein powder, bone broth, probiotics, and digestive enzymes, vitamins, essential oils. It's kind of like your whole health nutrition store. Even when I worked for Powerhouse for all the years that I did, it was down in South City, I still sent people to O'Fallon Nutrition for all the products. I really struggled in St. Louis to be able to find a supplement company that supported the same vision as me. For years, I would send people to the local supplement stores, and honestly, their salespeople would literally talk my client out into other products, making them feel that the suggestion that was made was not as good as the next product. And those clients would often call me from the parking lot and they'd say, I know you're going to, probably say I need to go back in there and return this, but they just assured me that this was a better product, and it wasn't the better product. The beautiful thing about O'Fallon Nutrition is they very much share a very similar nutrition philosophy to myself. So when I send a client down there, I don't have to anticipate that they're going to convince them that they're doing something wrong, or they're going to convince them that they need to be doing something else. They have an incredibly knowledgeable staff, and they do an amazing job of answering questions. If you do not live in St. Louis and you're listening to this, O'Fallon Nutrition will ship to you if the order is $50 or more. So if there's specific products, they have great prices on what they have available. I go there for baking products, and then I go there and get John his pre-workout, and then I get, electrolyte powders, and I get Sophie's probiotics, and then I get grass-fed beef for the week. And like I said, I get deodorant. I mean, there's just so many different options available at O'Fallon Nutrition. If you have not made the stop to O'Fallon Nutrition, take a look at their website at O'FallonNutrition.com, or call them today to ask questions about specific products at 636-240-5283. For those of you that don't know, I'm Debbie Portell with Integrity Training Systems. Our website is integritytraininggroup.com. We are a personal training and nutrition company. We are based out of St. Louis. We have a location in Clayton, Missouri, and we also have a location in O'Fallon, Missouri. We are private, so we do not sell a membership. If you train once a week with a trainer, you have the option to use our facility as your gym. We do not require that you pay us monthly to be able to use it, and because of that, that makes us a very private location. So when you come in, the people that are here are people that train here. So you're around a very like-minded group of individuals, people that are all trying to focus on improving their health, trying to focus on improving their nutrition, maybe losing weight, maybe gaining weight, maybe getting through a specific disease that they're battling. Lots of different people from all walks of life, all shapes, all sizes, all sexes, all ages, all working together in harmony. And it's a very spirit building place. We really like to think of it as a very family-oriented environment. So if you have not checked out Integrity Training Systems, please understand if you're considering a personal trainer, you want to consider Integrity Training Systems. We offer a free personal fitness assessment to everyone so they can come in and be assessed and identify how they should be working out. We assess your structural analysis. We go through a full structural analysis, identify any limitations that you have, and figure out what needs to be lengthened, what mobility needs to be increased. So we teach you stretching, foam rolling, and mobility. But then on top of that, we also try to figure out what needs to be strengthened. So then at that point, we know how we should be working you out from this point forward. That assessment is so key to how we do things and how we change folks. In addition to the assessment, we also have a 5-month nutrition program, and that program is done with me. I tell you exactly what to eat, where to buy it from, how to prepare it, what to order when you eat out, what you should do when you're traveling, what to be drinking all throughout the day, and just any vitamins or minerals that would be appropriate for you to take. I'm not a supplement chaser, so I'll try to do as much as I can with whole food, and then I'll put some here and there's in that would just be appropriate for everyone. I do believe in whole food nutrition, so I will give you a cookbook with that, and I'll just truly try to teach you how to change your lifestyle. I will help you to accomplish short-term goals, but my goal is to teach you the science behind the food so that you have an understanding of what you're eating and why you're eating it, and how it could possibly be impacting your body when you're eating it. So that's what we do at Integrity, and if you have not signed up for that fitness assessment, start with that. As of this month, we have 3 personal training sessions on sale for $150, and that's the least expensive we've ever had personal training sessions. So that's a great way to get started. In addition, like I said, for more information on that 5-month nutrition program, you can call us at 636-299-2208, or you can take a look at us at integritytraininggroup.com. How to survive a party. So obviously Super Bowl party would be kind of in my head, but this could be a work party. This could be just friends that are having you over for the weekend, and it's a group, and you're kind of sitting there anxious because you're not sure what they're going to think and what are you going to do when you get there? What are you going to be able to eat? What are you going to be able to pick? So identifying ahead of time and recognizing that, this is not going to always be the easiest situation, but it also doesn't have to be your reason for failure either. So going to a party and having a buffet of foods that, you know for sure you shouldn't be eating is going to be tempting for anyone. If you genuinely are working yourself through a food addiction, and even being in the presence of the smell of certain foods or the appearance of certain foods is going to trigger you, then you really have to take into consideration if it makes sense to go to the party. I can give you all the ideas in the world, but if that happens, then you're going to set yourself off. If you're in the beginning phase of a program, then you really need to set yourself apart a little bit. You've got to kind of identify where your strengths and weaknesses are. And if that's a weakness for you, don't go to the party. Skip the party this year. Go to the party next year. Build yourself some resistance, build yourself some time, build yourself the ability to be able to, handle yourself and go through the process of actually being able to be around that stuff and knowing that it's not going to send you off into a tizzy when you get home that night. And this is a real deal. People really deal with the psychological and physiological connection to food that they've been working their whole life to try to break. So going to a smorgasbord of temptation is not always the best idea. There's plenty of ways to fight temptation, and I by all means am going to help you with that. The first thing that's going to happen when you're at a party is that you're going to have temptation, but then the second thing is that you're going to have pressure. So there's going to be a group of people at that party that they might have been the ones that actually prepared the food. Therefore, they're going to be to some extent insulted that you don't want to eat their food. So you have to kind of be in a position where you understand that there's going to be a group of people that will not support your vision for being healthy. Therefore, they've made the chili cheese dip and they have the chips and they have all the things that you cannot have. So they're going to come to you and say, oh, come on, you can have a little bit today. It's Super Bowl, right? I mean, you don't want to be that restricted. Are you really on the right diet if you can't even have 1 cup of that? Here comes the seeds. I will plant good seeds in you. Your trainer here will plant good seeds in you. All the people around on the treadmills and in our gym, they will plant great seeds in you. But here's the time for the bad seed planting. And these bad seeds will get in you and they will grow if you let them. So you're gonna hang around with people that are not in the same zone as you. It's okay, but you've got to respect that they're not on the same vision. So they're not going to support how healthy you're trying to become, and how healthy you're trying to become is probably going to make them feel bad about the fact that they're not even trying to become healthy. A lot of people have a lot of insecurities when they're around people that are making choices and changes that they know that they need to make, but they're not making them. You have no idea what everyone's battle is. Maybe someone's dealing with high blood pressure and you don't even know it. Maybe they're dealing with high cholesterol or some type of histamine or autoimmune issue and you don't even know it. And you trying to be healthy in front of them is putting them in a position where they're realizing they're making poor choices and that they're going to continue to feel bad because of those bad choices. People jump on the defense at first. That's their first instinct, is to be defensive. So their first instinct is going to say, come on, come on, come on. They're going to try to give you 100 reasons why you should cheat too. Because if you cheat too and you start feeling like garbage on Monday, they're going to feel a whole lot better about the fact that they're going to feel like garbage all week long too, because now you're going to feel like garbage with them. This is the first thing, other than just the overall temptation of being around the food. When you have balanced nutrients in your diet, and I believe in balanced nutrients, so that means that I don't follow a macro diet where I tell people you can fit in your macros, you're good. Not putting that down, just saying I don't service that. So I don't give that out to folks. But what I do is I try to determine what is the appropriate balance for a person in terms of how they feel. So if you eat this protein, this fat, this carb, how's your energy? Even later in the day, that might be a completely different ratio in terms of how you feel. Also understanding how a person breaks certain carbs down, breaks certain fats down, and breaks certain proteins down is going to make a big difference as well. When you first start cleaning out someone's system, they're going to digest food one way. Within 3 months of working with them, they're going to digest food another way. Their metabolism is going to be working one way here, one way over here. You have to be able to make balance changes. But the reality is that you want a balanced amount of nutrients when you're working with someone and they're going to go to a party like this. If they're going ahead of time and their nutrients are super balanced, they're probably not going to have the cravings like everyone else will. They're going to stand in front of the food and it's going to look great and they're going to want to try it. It's not that they're not going to want to have it, but they may not feel like they need it as bad and they can resist the craving because their brain is so much more balanced than what it was before. When you're eating junk and when you're eating sugar every single day, your serotonin levels have changed. Your dopamine levels have changed. So many different hormones have changed. So you're not going to be able to reason through a situation in the same fashion that you would when you have balanced nutrients, balanced, clean nutrients. There's a great book called The Mood Cure. It is excellent. It does a wonderful job of explaining how your brain is impacted by food. And it just does such a good job of letting you know that, hey, your neurotransmitter balance, it's huge. It really plays a big role on how you can make choices and how strict you can be with your food. So as I take on a new client and I give them the right balance of carbs, the right balance of fat, the right balance of protein, they get themselves into a position where their brain starts to be balanced. They may not even need near as much medication as what they were taking before if they actually have issues with their brain. But the biggest thing that shifts is their desire for the food, their cravings, that sugar response, what they need. They don't need it near as much because they've dulled down the response. And so there's a method. The book is called The Mood Cure. Someone I think just asked what that was called. The book is called The Mood Cure. But there's a method of just understanding that if you balance your blood sugar, you ultimately are going to balance your brain. Now, it takes time. It doesn't just happen overnight. But if you can grasp the understanding of what it takes to balance your blood sugar, you're ultimately going to grasp the understanding of what it takes to balance your brain. When you balance your brain, and your serotonin isn't up here and your dopamine's down here, or your dopamine's not up here and the serotonin's non-existent, when you get that balanced, you will look at chocolate differently. You will look at sugar differently. You'll be able to say, I know what that's going to do to me, and I cannot have that. I will resist that. When you're all out of balance, I will tell you, it is a physiological issue. It is not a mental weakness. To some extent, it is that your brain is weak because you're unbalanced, but you are physiologically challenged by the fact that your neurotransmitter levels are so off right now that you genuinely feel like you need that food because it's going to do the serotonin movement that you need or the dopamine movement that you need. And if you're an alcoholic and you go to a treatment center, in the beginning, that treatment center is very likely to put you on a medication. And that medication is going to help to change your neurotransmitter levels. So what is it doing with the sugar? When you take the sugar out completely, you're going to have a couple, 3, 4, 5 days where your body's going to say, where's the sugar? Where's the sugar? I need the sugar. Where's the sugar? But if you learn the science behind that, you can sit back and say, someone put a straitjacket on me for the next 3 days. I'm not having sugar, and it's going to change my life. And then when you get to that balanced state with your blood sugar, you can walk in that party, and every friend you have can come up and they can say, oh, come on. This is starting to get ridiculous. You're so strict on your diet all the time. You're no fun to hang around with anymore. You're making us look bad. Surely you can have 1 cup of this. I mean, who's telling you what to eat anyways? Do these people even know what they're talking about? Moderation, moderation. You need to make a habit of getting more moderation. Well, when you come in with that clean brain, that level brain, that controlled blood sugar, guess what? You're going to be able to look at them and go, you know what? You guys do whatever you want. I'm going to have a great time without that food. And I just really appreciate the blessing of being here with you guys. I'm good. I don't need it. I feel great. I have felt great for weeks. And I sincerely am okay. Now there's where did I write this? There's something I wrote down that I wasn't necessarily planning to bring it in. I was planning to bring it in later. But I really want you guys to hear it because this would make sense for, what you're going to be able to say. But what I was going to tell you was walk your health out just like you walk your faith out. People need to see it. And my pastor said, I'm not going to quote this right. Pastor Jeff Perry at Findlay Church said today, if people really, truly knew how amazing Jesus Christ was, they will walk around every day doing everything they could to try to tell people about Jesus. And that's kind of like why I am the way I am. I know how great he is. He's completely changed my life and turned my life around. And without him, I would be nothing. So I have no problem interrupting a podcast and talking about Jesus. If people truly understood how good you felt when you walked into that party, they would want what you wanted. So if you walk out your health in front of them, don't put it on them. Don't try to oppress them with it, but go into it optimistically and with positive energy. Expect people to plant negative seeds, but be positive about it. Walk it out in front of them and be like, that all looks awesome, but seriously, I'm okay. I really feel great right now, and I don't want anything to change the way I feel. My blood pressure's down. I'm not as swollen as I used to be. I'm digesting my food properly. My joints don't hurt. I don't have eczema. I'm not having breakouts. The list goes on and on. I'm not having to take medicine for depression anymore. These are the things that you can tell people and say, it's not about the weight. The weight is a byproduct of how I feel right now. What it's about is I'm walking in this party and I feel amazing for the first time in my life. And all that food right there could change that in a matter of minutes. And it's not worth it to me. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you're going to go through life and deny all good foods, okay? Nor do I have that expectation out of any human being. Every client I worked with, I sat them down for Thanksgiving and I sat them down for Christmas. And I said, listen, it's Thanksgiving and Christmas. I would never tell a soul not to enjoy a meal with their family. So if you want to have something, but let me give you some guidance on the foods that are going to affect you the most negatively so that maybe you could navigate your way around having an off meal, but try to have the healthiest version of that off meal. All right, so again, friend pressure is going to come. Temptation of just the smell of the good food is going to come. How great you feel is how you're going to fight that friend pressure. How balanced your nutrients are and how balanced your brain is how you're going to fight the temptation, because you're going to go into it and you're not going to see it and feel it the same exact way at all. Bring your own food to a party. I'm not saying, you have to bring your cooler and, and bring out your little, container. I'm not saying that. Roast things. Make a big tray. Even if they didn't ask you to, show up with food. Then we know that you can eat something at that party, okay? Bring it. Bring your own food. What I normally suggest is roasting vegetables because everyone loves the taste of roasted vegetables. I roast Brussels sprouts, I roast broccoli, I roast cauliflower, I roast green beans, I roast asparagus, roast red peppers, I roast red onion. Make a huge platter of it, like a turkey-sized platter of it, and just set it down, put a big spoon on it. People will go to town on it. Olive oil or avocado oil, salt and pepper, maybe some fresh garlic. Just get it seasoned really good and bring it. Now, one of the easier things to do would just be throw a grass-fed chuck roast in the crock pot and put some KB Wellness bean broth in there, or beef broth in there, and just let it cook for 6 hours on low, and then shred it up, season it really good, and then bring it to the party with you. And so you have roast that you could eat, and you have vegetables that you can eat. You got something that you can eat all day long. Now, if you don't have the time to make the roast, then go to Bandanas and get a couple pounds of beef, get a couple pounds of pulled chicken, get a couple pounds of shredded turkey, get their smoked chicken wings, bring them. That's what I did for New Year's Day. We had John's family over, and I bought $50 worth of smoked chicken wings, and they were gone. Everybody ate them. There was no sauce on them, but they were seasoned, and they're seasoned okay, so it was okay for them to have. But you could even, if you have a smoker, you could smoke the meat. Bring something on your own. An olive tray, do olives and pickles, and maybe do some banana peppers, and then maybe put some red pepper and green pepper and yellow pepper to kind of color it all up. Throw some grape tomatoes on there, and you could sit and snack on good fat through the olives, pickles, of which really will do nothing, to you. You could chop up some cucumber, throw some guacamole in there. I have a tray that has like 8 compartments. It's ceramic. It's really nice to bring. It looks really good. And that's what I'll do. Olives, pickles, grape tomatoes, orange pepper, red pepper, yellow pepper, guacamole. And then I make my honey mustard dressing that has absolutely nothing bad in it. And I put that in the center so they could dip it into that if you want to. But the reality is you're the one dipping it. Primal, the brand Primal. They sell it at O'Fallon Nutrition. That dressing, we sell it here at Integrity as well. It's made with avocado oil. Put that in there. You've got 3 sauces and then 6 items that you can dip. Maybe don't just bring that, because you're going to need something. That's where the roasted veggies and that's where the meat comes in. Or get an assortment of raw nuts. And if you bring that little vegetable and olive tray and the raw nuts, eat your whole meal before you go. If you eat that whole meal before you go, you're going to get there and you're going to not be starving. And you're going to be in a position where you can manage it a whole lot better. And then you have snacks through the nuts, snacks through the olives, snacks through the vegetables, dipping. You've got something that you can do so that you don't look like embarrassed while you're there. Another thing is celery and cashew butter or almond butter. Could go to Fresh Thyme, and even O'Fallon Nutrition has a grinder, and just grind your own. Take it home, add some cinnamon, stevia, and a dash of vanilla, and mix it up. Make it taste even better. Grab your celery, spread it through, and then make little snack size pieces and just put that out on a platter, and people can snack with that, and they're getting good fat and good quality vegetables. That's easy. Another thing you could do is go out and Pinterest how to make whipped cream with coconut cream and stevia. So you just type in dairy-free, sugar-free, coconut whipped cream. It is so easy to make. Make that whipped cream and make a huge tray of assorted fruits. I would skip oranges and grapes and apples and bananas because they're just very high in fructose. And I would just put every other type of fruit you can imagine. And in the center, you can just put that coconut whipped cream that you made in there. The last thing would be like some of my muffins, the protein muffins, not just to try to sell protein muffins, but we do sell them at the gym. Should you have an interest in them, you just have to private message us and we will place an order for you, and then we deliver them on Mondays and Tuesdays to the gym. But something like a protein muffin. I make pumpkin chocolate chip protein muffins. Everybody loves them. No one's complained. Everyone's kids love them. The chocolate melts in your mouth when you eat them. Bring a whole dozen of those chocolate protein muffins there, and it'll at least give you something that you could safely eat, and then you won't go for the sugar items that they have. Hopefully that helps you. I have a cookbook, my latest cookbook, If you go out to integritytraininggroup.com, we have a store. You can buy all the cookbooks on there. You can also look on Amazon. But my latest cookbook it has so many of those muffin recipes in there. That is actually a cookbook that I created for my daughter when she started the first grade. Everything changed because they took the snack out of her meal. And so we really had to change the way we fed her in the morning. So I started creating these muffin recipes that have protein in them. And then they just have the right amount of carbohydrates and good quality fat. So those recipes are all out there in that cookbook. So that would be a suggestion maybe for something that you could get. And you could use that cookbook to prepare yourself for going to the party. But like I said, if you're not going to bring anything, eat before you go. Have your nuts in your purse. Have a thing of olives in your purse. Or bring that tray of those smaller items and eat before you go. If you're not going to eat before you go and you're going somewhere and you're going to be there all day long, you need to make a roast and bring the roast. You need to slice up a rotisserie chicken and use the avocado mayo from Primal and make a chicken salad. You need to make deviled eggs with the avocado mayo. You need to bring a good quality protein source when you go to that party. And I will always suggest that roasted vegetable platter like I suggested earlier, because everyone loves it. I mean, you can do one type of vegetables if you want, but I just like roasting all different types. And then that way, whatever a person doesn't like, they can kind of skip that. And whatever they do like, they can have it. Not everybody's willing to try, Brussels sprouts. Some people have just committed to hating Brussels sprouts, even though I guarantee if they tried them roasted with a little bit of shallot or a little bit of onion, they would probably like them. Because I grew up a little unsure of Brussels sprouts, although I used to eat them steamed because I was always trying to impress my mom and dad with how many vegetables I ate. I was kind of like the opposite of a normal child. I wanted to eat vegetables because I wanted them to, be proud of me for being healthy. So I guess maybe I was embedded, or something was embedded in me. But I, as a child, always wanted to please my parents by trying to be healthy. That is not to say that I didn't like sugar, because I did, or that I didn't like junk food, because I did. But I did always truly enjoy eating vegetables and trying to be as healthy as I could as a kid. And I think that my parents tried to represent that to me well. We always had good quality vegetables when we ate. The other aspect that I want to talk about with preparing for a party. So that's my preparing for a party. I just yacked with you for 30 minutes. You've got some preparation there. The biggest part we have to think about is, are your nutrients balanced going into this? Get your head in the game. If you've been eating like crap for 3 days, you're going to go to that party and you're going to demolish everything that they have. Don't go to the party if you've been eating like crud for 3 days. Get yourself on track. Eat clean Monday through Friday this week if you know you're going to a party on Saturday. Do not go into that party with a bad brain balance because your blood sugar's been off all week, or you will terrorize that bad food and you will regret it for the next week. So that's number one thing to remember. Number two, that's how we're going to fight off temptation when we get there, is to have a controlled blood sugar and a controlled, even brain, all right? And our neurotransmitter levels are good. And remember the book, The Mood Cure. The second thing we're going to take from that summarization of how to survive a party is, when we're dealing with friend pressure, we're going to be so excited about how good we feel every single day that we're going to walk into that party and we're going to be a contagious spirit. Instead of being a pessimist about how unhappy you are because you can't eat this, you can't eat that, you can't eat this, you can't eat that, you can talk about how you can officially bend over and tie your shoes, which you weren't able to do 3 weeks ago. You can talk about the fact that your elbow doesn't hurt anymore, your stomach doesn't hurt anymore, you don't have eczema, you don't have skin issues. All the things that I talked to you about earlier, that's our summarization of how we're going to deal with that friend pressure. Walk it out. Walk it out in front of them. They need to see your health the same way they need to see your faith. You will be contagious, and you could change someone's life just by living your life right out in front of them, same way you would just with your faith. The best testimony is not a preacher preaching. The best testimony is someone living a faith-filled life. The best testimony to change someone's life for health is someone living a health-filled life. Someone watching and saying, no matter what, I see that person, they make good choices, and I can see they're happy. I can see they can fight through challenges better. I can see that they're not depressed all the time. I can see that they genuinely feel good on a regular basis. That's what you could do for someone. Now, from a discipline standpoint, an excuse is an excuse. And for doing this for as many years as I've done it, I am so not patient with excuses. So I try to be, I genuinely do, but I just sit back in my chair like, okay, you just spent a lot of money to work with me, and that's all you got. You're just going to continue to come in week after week and tell me that you don't have time. Tell me that you have kids. Tell me that you work. Tell me that you have a husband. Tell me that you don't have a supportive wife. Well, you know what? You're going to continue to stay in the same exact situation that you're in. An excuse is an excuse is an excuse. You got to just own it. You just have to own it. You have to say, I'm not making the time. And because I have an unsupportive spouse, I'm choosing to allow that to keep me from being successful. Because I work a lot of hours, I'm not making exceptions in other areas of my life, and therefore I'm using that as my reason to fail this week. An excuse is just a covering of why you're deciding not to go to that next level to do something. My parents have both had heart attacks, both of them. My dad was in the heart sort of, well, I guess it'd be like the ICU and of the hospital for like 41 days. And I lived in South City when this happened. I would drive and work and then drive all the way up to St. Charles to be with him. And I never one day used it as an excuse for why I couldn't eat my food. I got to know the nurses because I went in their break room and warmed up my food each day. I sat at home and I prepared my food for 2 hours, and then I got to the hospital to be with my dad, or I called Pure Plates and I ordered their food. I've dealt with so many emergency situations recently. I've yet to use that as an excuse for why I can't eat my food. Here's the reason. If I don't eat my food, I'm not okay. I will be in the hospital room next to them. I cannot not eat my food. It has to be okay. I would hire someone to prepare it for me. I will do whatever it takes to be okay. And trust me, there's been plenty of times where I didn't have the money to do that kind of stuff. So I had to figure it out on my own. So there's ways, but there's also excuses. And if you keep going week after week after week after week, telling yourself why you can't do something and using that as your reason for why you can't be successful, nobody can help you. Nobody can. No coach, no macronutrient profile, no trainer. No one can help you because you're not even opening it up to help yourself. You have to be in a position where you say, I'm not too busy. I will make time for this. I don't care if my spouse doesn't support me. I don't need them to be healthy. They can be as unhealthy as they want. I choose to be healthy, and I will be happy, and I will be loving, and I will be kind to them. I'm going to be healthy, and I'm not going to let them be the reason why I'm not healthy. I work a lot of hours. Okay, I'm going to bring food, and I'm going to eat when I can eat. And if I need help and I need convenience factors and I need someone to figure it all out, I'm going to hire Debbie, and she's going to tell me exactly what to do. I can't tell you how many nurses and doctors I've worked with over the years that work 12 to 16-hour shifts. If I can help them figure out what to eat during a day, I can help you figure out what to eat during a day. That excuse, null and void. Here's the other thing. Here's why prepping is no longer even capable of being an excuse. Pure Plates exists. There's a place like Pure Plates. You could have an autoimmune disease and walk into Pure Plates and eat food that will not cause you a response. Pure Plates has 2 locations. There's one in Kirkwood and there's one in Chesterfield. And I have ate their food for years, and it has helped me out tremendously to not be able, when I'm in a situation where I can't prep something. You can order meat by the pound, you can order veggies by the pound, or you can just order their meals. They're excellent meals. I have to be gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, corn-free, peanut-free. I mean, I have to be everything free, and I can eat at Pure Plates. If I can eat at Pure Plates, anyone can eat at Pure Plates. John eats at Pure Plates all week. His entire week is from Pure Plates. We fed Sophie off of Pure Plates. I've brought Pure Plates to the hospital. You know, when a business partner of mine was in the hospital from having a heart attack, I just loaded him up with Pure Plates all week long instead of eating the hospital food. It's out there. You can order it online. You can stop by the store and pick up a meal literally right now as we speak. You can call them and tell them, hey, I can't eat rice. Can you give me Brussels sprouts instead? Hey, I can't have cheese. Can you take my cheese off? This is what this place does. If prepping is your reason for why you can't stay successful, you need to call Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com, and you can give them a call at 636-778-3555. One of my favorite things to bring to a party as we go back into that parties mode is I have Pure Plates prepare a family size integrity salad. And it's a kale salad, but it's delicious. It's really, really good. Anything that they have, they could prepare like that. Their turkey meatballs are really good. You could buy like 3 pounds of the turkey meatballs and bring those to a party. And they have great sauces and stuff. All their stuff is okay. I mean, it's all clean food that you can have. I'm just throwing that in there to help you to understand that if preparation is your biggest excuse, you don't have it anymore. And you can't say that you can't afford it because they're not too expensive. They have varying prices, and it's not going to be any different than if you go out to eat. So really no excuse from a prep standpoint. Now you have people that are actually prepping. If you really truly need help, get one of my cookbooks. My cookbooks are designed for you to learn how to prep your food for the week. Come and meet with me. I teach people how to cook every single day. That's what I do. Go out to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. I have cooking videos like crazy. My call and passion is, to do this. It comes from God, and I want you to learn how to live right. I want you to learn to be as healthy as humanly possible. So food is the one thing that can change everything. You can do CrossFit 8 days a week, even though there's only 7. And you can do the boxing gym and Orange Theory. And you can do one of my personal trainers. I don't care how much you work out. If you don't have your food right, it is not going to get you where you want to go. Even if where you want to go is to be better at a marathon, or if where you want to go is to build muscle, or if where you want to go is to lose weight, or to drop your blood pressure, you can work out. It's going to help. It really, really will. But you have to figure out the food component. You have to. Your inflammation will not decrease significantly until you change your food. Your histamine levels will not go down until you change your food. Your brain is not going to get balanced until you change your food. So understand that food is the one thing that can change everything. It can change everything. So when we're talking about excuses today, my pastor, who I talked about earlier, Jeff Perry, he mentioned, and I don't know what the scripture is. I'm really bad about this, but you could just Google this when I say this out loud to find out what the scripture is. So that way, if you have a study Bible, it'll give you a chance to kind of look into some other scriptures as well. But he said, the soul has no pleasure in those who shrink back. And I always, listen to anointed preachers, and they always say, don't shrink back, don't shrink back, don't shrink back. Like no matter what the enemy brings at you, don't shrink back. Keep pressing on, keep pressing on. And so I loved hearing that scripture today. The soul has no pleasure in those who shrink back. Food is the one thing that can change everything. Instead of sitting at home defeated and weak and tired of being a failure and tired of being depressed and tired of being anxious and tired of being overweight, don't shrink back. Don't shrink back. That's the word of God. It says the soul has no pleasure in those who shrink back. Don't shrink back. Keep pressing on. Quit using food as the excuse and start using it as the reason for how and why you're going to be the healthiest you've ever been in your life. It is everything to a person. It can change so much for you. Please understand how important it is to make that decision. I have a group nutrition program that I do, and we have a new one that we're setting up that starts on the 9th of February. For those of you that are listening, it is an excellent way to get a great education. It is going to be a 6-month nutrition program, and we are going to meet every Saturday. It is very informative. I block out an hour and a half's worth of time so I can answer questions at the end. I go through multiple topics. My topics that I include are nutrients and ingredients, body and movement, discipline and spirit, and preparation and choices. We start this second group on the 9th. So if you haven't signed up and you want to sign up, get signed up. It is a great program. If you cannot make it every Saturday, that's okay. We do a podcast of the visit every single time. We give you a free cookbook. We also do a Facebook group where we post, and my trainers are all part of it, and they support you and they answer questions and they just kind of rebuild you and just give you new ideas of ways that you can grow. For more information on that, take a look at us at on Facebook or on Instagram, Integrity Training Systems, or just at Debbie Portell, or just give us a call at 636-299-2208 and we can get you signed up for that group nutrition. But what I went over this weekend, I'm going to repeat it with you guys because I think it's really good. Jocko Willink, who I talk about all the time, he says the person that you can control is you. So do you have support at all, or are you doing this alone? Do you not have any friends that understand? People at work don't understand. Nobody cares. He says, do it anyway. And so he's kind of like that, and I love that about him, so I always try to quote him. But the interesting thing is that I've always kind of had that attitude. You know, I've really never been the Jillian Michaels where I've boot camp yelled at somebody, but I've also not been touchy-feely. I always build people up and try to nurture them, but I'm real with them and help them to understand that this is a fight of faith and that you've got to get in it, you've got to stay in it. And no matter how complicated or how difficult it gets, you can't give up. Because if you give up, everyone around you is going to be affected by your lack of discipline. So if you fail, you just get right back on track. So like he said, if you don't have support, you don't have friends, you don't have family, oh well, do it anyway. So I'm going to read a section of his book because it's really good. And I'm hoping that if you guys haven't bought his book, I'm getting nothing for this, so I'm not trying to promote it. It's Discipline Equals Freedom, the Field Manual. It's an awesome book. Jocko Willink is someone that I listen to daily. I don't, necessarily listen to every podcast that he does every single day. I just, whenever I can, I try to put something positive on, and I put Jocko on. He's a retired Navy SEAL. So this is titled The Person You Can Control, and says, people are not who you want them to be. Kill your idols. I just love that. Kill your idols. Sure, there are things we can learn from people, but people aren't going to be what you think they are, what they should be. People, even those people you have put on a pedestal, are going to be faulted, weak, egomaniacs, condescending. They are going to be lazy, entitled, and short-sighted. They will not be perfect. Far from it. That's fine. Learn from their weakness. Of course, learn from their strengths and mimic and copy them in what they do well. But equally as important, learn from their faults. See what not to do. Because you can't control other people, you can't make them what you want them to be. You can't make them who you want them to be. The only person you can control is you. So focus on making yourself who you want to be. Faster, stronger, smarter, more humble, less ego. That's a big one. Less ego. More people need to have less ego. Discipline your body, free your mind, get up early and go. Get after it, and you will become the person you want to be. And you become that person through one small decision at a time, every day. And that's what I always say is choices make changes. So one choice at a time, change your life today. One meal at a time. Don't have to look at what you're doing for the next month, the next 3 months. One meal at a time. But what I want to say with this is that if your wife doesn't support you, if your boss doesn't support you, if your friends don't support you anymore, who cares? Do it anyways. You do not need them to be healthy. You do not need their support. You do not need their time. You do not need anything from them to be healthy. This is you. This is you and your relationship with the Lord. And you got to go, and that's your support. When you're feeling down and you feel like you can't stay committed, you pray your way through it. You get through it. But you can't rely upon other people to build that strength for you. If you're relying upon your spouse to be strong enough to support you through a weight loss journey, it's not good. That's not their job. They're not professionally designed to support you through your weight loss journey. And if they don't support you, you can still lose weight without them. And you can stay in a healthy lifestyle without them. You don't have to have the support of family and friends to be healthy. You're just going to use that as an excuse, and you're going to end up failing. So just like he said, expect people to fail. Expect people to be egomaniacs. Expect people to not be supportive. See what's positive in them. Find that positive and focus on that positive each day. And I always tell people, you might occasionally have a boss or a coworker. Maybe you have a spouse and maybe they have serious issues, and maybe it's hard to sit at home. and find the one thing that's actually good about them to focus on. Maybe there isn't. Maybe they've terrorized you for years and that's why you eat as bad as you eat. But I'll tell you, every person is someone Christ died for. And so if you seriously have that much of a difficult time finding something positive in them, then you start at that basic thing and you say, Lord, I thank you for creating this person. And I pray, God, that you will help them to become the person that they should become. And if you pray that every single day for them, instead of thinking over and over in your mind how unsupportive they are, how bad they do things, how mean they are, how ignorant they are, how much of a jerk they were to you that day, your life's going to change. You are going to be free from the hate. You're going to be free from the resentment. You're going to be free from the anger. That one simple moment where you take the time and you find that one thing positive about them and you even pray for them, it's going to design recovery and change in you just as much as it's going to bring change in them because you took that time. So please understand, you don't need that support to be healthy. The health is going to come from you and your choices. And you can't rely upon a spouse or a boss or a friend or a coworker to be that for you. You just can't. They're going to fail you. People will always fail you, no matter how much they love you or no matter how much they try. So you got to do this for you and you got to stay focused for you. Couple things that I talked about was always know the night before what and where and when you're going to eat. So schedule your meals out. Identify, what am I eating tomorrow? Tomorrow's Monday. I didn't prep any of my food. I got too busy. Let's just say, for example, well, sit down and figure out what you can eat tomorrow. All right? Okay, I'm going to go through Bread Company and I'm going to get 2 eggs and I'm going to get a fruit cup. That's what I'm having on my way to work with a cup of coffee. All right? Then I'm going to go to the deli at work and I'm going to get raw almonds and I'm going to have that for a snack. Then I'm going to go out to Qdoba. Then I'm going to get a lettuce bowl with double meat and some guacamole and some salsa. And then in the afternoon, I'm going to grab an Epic bar. Okay, that's something that, I can get at Deerberg's or wherever. I've got a Deerberg's across the street. I'm going to grab that. And then for dinner, on my way home, I'm going to stop by Freddy's and have them make 2 lettuce-wrapped hamburgers. That is, I didn't prepare my food for the day. That is not an excuse. I didn't prepare my food today, so I went ahead and blew it and ate a bunch of